Welcome to the Stack of Stats podcast. It's Pam Maldonado bringing you your top five against the spread contest picks in the NFL with my girl, Kelly in Vegas. Thank God I have you back. For anybody who watched last week, let me just throw this out. I am sorry that I had to put you through that. It was 12 minutes of torture, I am sure, but we got through it, Kelly. I'm glad to have you back, and I'm so sorry
I
about
didn't
your
think
dog
it was
Coco.
bad. No, thank you, and
It
I
was
appreciate
terrible.
you giving me the day off to be with her. I did not think it was that bad. I did watch every single show. Everybody at Wager Talk, you stepped up. I had John Murray step up. It was great to have you guys still be able to fill in because I'm sure that was not easy, very last minute. So shout out to all of you guys for being amazing friends.
So what it is that Kelly and I are doing, we're picking five against the spread contest picks in the NFL. These are set lines that are released every Wednesday and they do not change. Automatically in is Kelly's best bet. Automatically in is my best bet. And then together we're coming up with the other three. Last week I didn't have you. So you literally sent me your best bet. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make this work. We went 3-2. Super happy with that. We are now back to back weeks of going 3-2, which I don't think is terrible. My best bets are 2-0 so far. Unfortunately, Kelly, yours are 0-2. Really got to pick up some slack here. What do you think is going on
I,
so far?
I feel bad because so last Wednesday when I texted you my picks, I had three games. I had the Broncos, the Jags, and Seattle. I gave Veasan their contest. Seattle is my best bet. I gave did I give you the Jags?
No, we had your best bet was, I don't know, a loser, but Seattle ended up on.
Right. I saw that
Anyway,
Seattle was on there. So anyway, it kind of sucked because I didn't really get to differentiate. I gave out all three. On Sunday, of course, go 1-2. Jags, you can't win games kicking field goals. Broncos give up a 21-3 lead. Seattle, thank God, did not lose in overtime by 6. That would have just been the end of me last week. But yes, I would agree. The Colts week 1, unfortunately, that was how the best bets came out. So I do apologize to our viewers. I will get it done this week. And we already have a nice trophy for this week. Sorry.
that's
I
what it
bet
was.
I bet
Week one, you were backing the Jags, and then week two, you were
week 1 I had the
fading the Jags in week
Colts.
one, and then backing the Jags in week two.
Oh, God, that was not fun.
It's
But
okay.
yeah,
It's
so
my football team. I don't blame you.
I took 6 with Tampa on Sunday. 6.5 is what it opened. I went to bed. It was already 6, 5.5, now 5. We're seeing 4.5s pop up in the contest. It is 5. So I think they win this game outright. I'm not worried about the 5. And also, I love these 5-point spreads. I just feel like there's something scrappy about them. Week 1, we saw the Rams 5.5-point uh, underdogs on the road, went outright. Then we saw Seattle do it last week. So 5, 5.5, those numbers don't really bother me, even though they're dead numbers. Listen, the Eagles, we're due for some regression. We all know the Super Bowl losers and how that plays out for these teams. It is an unfortunate thing, but I did tell our good friend Ariel Epstein on their under 11.5 wins. It was right under the wire. I was so close to not having the guts to do it, but I did. And so far, they're 2-0, but undefeated home dog Monday night. That's right up my alley, right? Here we got Baker Mayfield, who nobody really knew what to expect from him in Tampa, but he's got 2 really good wideouts. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, those are really helpful. Eagles, 4-10 against the spread as road favorites. Just gives me an extra little boost here. I think that we'll see this defense, who looks better than last season, actually, and that's pretty tough to do, kind of put some pressure on Jalen Hurts. See if they can't make him make a few mistakes. See if they can't put some pressure on him. Get a couple sacks. Philadelphia might win this one, but I think this looks like a field goal game. And Pam, I'm going to be there in person for this one. I'm actually going with my girlfriend, who is an Eagles fan. And no, I didn't plan this because I'm not that mean of a friend. She texts me. She's like, hey, do you want to go to this game? I go, let's wait. Tampa is going to suck. They're going to be 0-2. These tickets are going to be dirt cheap. Boy, was I wrong. They are not dirt cheap.
And
And
what is up with
Monday Night
you
Football.
going to games where you're on the opposite side? Your girlfriend is
I
an
did.
Eagles fan, and you're
I
rooting for
didn't
the
mean to.
Bucks. I'm a Jags fan. We went to the championship game, and you're the only bozo wearing a wearing a Titans jersey.
Your
You
Titans
did this
jersey.
intentionally.
I swear
It
this is
was my
never
jersey, but I would
this is
never have
never.
worn it that day.
It's never purposeful. I don't plan these things in advance. It is what it is. I did sprinkle a little bit on the Bucks money line, but we won't tell her that, okay?
Let's not tell her. Let's be nice to this person so she can enjoy herself. unlike me, and try not to get any fights. That was one thing. You were the opposition when we went to the AFC Championship game, and we almost got kicked out and rioted on because you were the only bozo in a Titans jersey in a field of Jags. Try to avoid that this week. So automatically in is Kelly's best bet of Bucks +5 is the contest line at home to the Eagles. For my best bet, honestly, I'm gonna be truthful. My best bet's 2-0 so far. I've been really confident back-to-back weeks. This week, not saying that I'm less confident. I just like a lot of games. So I couldn't decide, oh, I love this one. Oh, but I really love this one too. Oh, I love this one also. So I was like, there's three games that I went back and forth with, and I am settling on one because I think it's just fundamentally, it makes more sense to me. I'm gonna just stick to that. Like, yes, Falcons +3 at the Lions, and I love the Lions. So it was almost like I'm intentionally trying to not to fade them, but yet here I am. It's about the Falcons' rushing offense. They account for 70% of the team's touches, fourth in the league for yardage via rushing. Now we know that my fellow Longhorn, Bijan Robinson, over 6.5 yards per touch. Let the boy eat. He's been looking like prime Alvin Kamara out there, out on the field. He looks so good, just as everyone projected him to be. Lions rushing defense, 29th last year, hasn't been tested in two straight games. Both the Kansas City Chiefs, Seattle Seahawks. Bottom half in rushing production for the 2022 season, already following suit on this year. Now, I know that people are always going to say you can't look at last year's numbers. That's literally all we have through a two-game sample size. So I have to. Detroit against Chicago last year, 260 rushing yards allowed, won the game by 1 point. Against Carolina, 320 rushing yards allowed, lost that game outright 37-23. Detroit's defense looks good on paper because they haven't faced a rushing offense until now. And now you get Bijan Robinson, probably somebody who could be the best running back. I've been calling him Derrick Henry 2.0. It's going to happen. We're going to see it build up into fruition, and it could start this week. Bijan is going to have a field day against the Lions defense. What do you think about my best bet of Falcons
Yeah,
on the road
I
plus
like it.
3 at the Lions?
Yeah, I'm not in the same wheelhouse as you, Pam. I'm not a Lions fan. Were they great against the spread? Sure. Absolutely. That was wonderful to back them as an underdog. And now all of a sudden, they're getting a ton of love in the marketplace as favorites. And I'm not buying the hype. I'm with you here. I like the Falcons. Can report Sharp Group played them at 4. So at 3 in the contest, I actually think they can win this game outright. You're absolutely right. This defense is going to be tested. But more importantly, this offensive line is banged up. David Montgomery is banged up. Guess what happens when you get to Jared Goff and you frustrate him? I'm with you. I like this Falcons pick.
You said that you liked the Falcons on the money line, as did I. In our survivor pick between me, you, and Ariel, I even threw out, "Hey, y'all ready to gamble?" So I was like, "I like the Falcons to win this game."
Listen, we've got way other places to take the Falcons. Let me pull up the magic spreadsheet. I know we don't talk about Survivor a lot on here, except we did week 1, but we were arguing back and forth, and I took an easy one. Atlanta will be interesting. They will be 3-point home favorites to Indianapolis week 16. Maybe that's where we use them because they need to get into the playoffs. Maybe they're jockeying for playoff position. Let's pump the brakes and trying to use them as a road underdog.
I'm like, that's already like 3 straight weeks of me being like, "Hey guys, let's go for like the underdog that could win outright." It would have been Cardinals last week, and they did get the cover, but were supposed to win, and then those like,
Well, that
wow,
like what was that? That was like the biggest choke I've ever seen. Could have wiped out like a good chunk of the pool. I think it was like 1,800 people. Would have been nice.
100.
Eh,
It
what are you
would have
gonna
been
do?
so nice. All right, then. So automatically into our best of 5, we have Kelly's best bet backing the Bucks at home +5 to the Eagles, and then my best bet Falcons +3 on the road to the Lions. Now, because I didn't have you last week, Kelly, I want you to go ahead and kick this off. What is another game? You mentioned last week you had a couple of favorites. You sent me one, you sent another person another. What is if there was a second game that you had to call a best bet? What would it be?
Yeah, it'd be Houston +9. I think it's even 9.5. I have to look, double check in whether it's Circa or the SuperContest section. Let me pull that up really
It's
quick because I got it right here. It is 9
9.
in both, actually. So it's tough but that half point's not going to make a big deal. But look, Texans 15-3 outright winners in their last 18 games against Jacksonville. Are you insane?
Mm.
Now I know Jacksonville made leaps and bounds last year. Yeah, well, this team has their number. This team has looked so horrific to start the season. They looked
Mhm.
okay for about the first quarter against Baltimore. And then they got railroaded at home last week to the Colts. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to go A plus B plus C. Well, the Colts lost to the Jags, and then the Jags beat the crap out of the Texans. So automatically, Jags. I don't know about you guys, but as I said last week, I took the 3 with the Jags amongst lots of other very intelligent human beings. You knew it was not very intelligent? Doug Peterson. You can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs kicking field goals. This looks like one of those games that's going to be just disgusting. It's going to be like a 14-9 final, Pam. And I would not be surprised to see the Houston Texans win this game outright. I like the Texans here, plus the points. As I said, history is on our side. Yes, Jacksonville is a different team than they were in these last 9 years. I agree. But even last year, Jacksonville got one, or excuse me, Houston got one up on Jacksonville, 5-1 straight up against the spread in this series since 2018 as an underdog. I think that this one is ripe. Ripe. Was it 2 years ago? I think my buddies Chris and Trig went out with this game. I feel like, and I thought Chris was just going to, I think they were like 12.5 point favorites or something just absolutely disgusting. Houston goes
Lost.
in, beats the Jags. You remember. You're a Jags fan.
So then yes, I'm a Jags fan, and I purposely was like, you know what? I like the Texans too, but it really sucks when you're at the sports book and I'm rocking my Jag sneaks and I'm looking all fly walking in, and then all of a sudden, God, I can't cheer for them because they're losing this game. Like it's, and you know they're going to lose this game. Like so, here's the problem with me. I'm a Jags fan. Yes, Trevor Lawrence, that's my boy. He hasn't looked good in a couple of he hasn't looked good so far in back-to-back games. Like, he's throwing for a league low minus 35 and point 9 expected points added, which means he is not doing anything for this offense. You know who the only quarterback is that he's ahead of? The Jets quarterback roster right now, and that's because we had Aaron Rodgers with 1 snap. You're ahead of Zach Wilson. T-Law, you gotta get it together and put it because you gotta figure it out. Yes, defense, at least for Houston, they have been losing, but they are still pretty competitive. And I think this is like a perfect matchup for the Texans against, as you mentioned, history is on their side. The Jaguars have converted a league low 6 of 24 of their third downs through 2 weeks. You can't, if you're not moving the chains, you're not gonna put up points. So automatically, I'm already looking to the under on this game. And because of that, catching 9 points in a low scoring affair, I gotta back the dog. Um, what do you say I put it on our back end? It's probably gonna end up on our card, let's be honest, because I also agree, with conviction. So, put it on our back end just so we can roll through some games.
Absolutely.
Okay, another option that I was looking at, the Titan. Tell me how this is not just like the easiest wager of the week. This is my second one that I contemplated going back and forth between my best bet. Titans plus 3.5 at the Browns. Browns quarterback, Deshaun Watson. He's not good. 55% completion ahead of only Zach Wilson. How many times have I been shouting through the rooftops, you got to fade Zach Wilson? Are people not fading Deshaun Watson? Like, people keep saying he's got to take the dust. He's got to, dust off the rust. How long are we going to give this guy? 30th in yards per pass attempt, second worst throw, and you're catching 3.5 with that on the road?
I will
What am I
say
missing?
I'm not gonna disagree with you. It would be Titans or pass for me here. Full disclosure. You're absolutely right. Deshaun Watson looked terrible, right? You know who else
He
hasn't
doesn't
looked
look
that great? Ryan Tannehill. His offensive line has just let him get killed. And that
yeah.
concerns me here. Now, how did Tennessee win last week? Well, Brandon Staley's still the coach of the Chargers. That is the problem. They looked decent, right? In overtime. if
Well,
you
I guess
will.
if you're
But
using that game I guess if you're using that game as a comparison that the Chargers they did just beat the Chargers. I had the, I was Chargers in a teaser. So if you're using that game as a comparison, is that not similar to what is happening this week? They're running back for the Chargers, Austin Eckler, he was out. So you had to rely on that passing game. That's exactly what this scenario is. The difference is the Chargers have a capable passing quarterback and the Browns
very
don't.
true. No, listen, I'm with you. Do we think so? Obviously, there was talk Kareem Hunt signing with the Browns. Do we think there's a chance that Kareem Hunt will be available for this game? Have you heard anything through your rumblings that he will be playing on Sunday? Because that would be the only other little asterisk. Obviously, he's not just
This
some
the
Joe Schmo running back they
this
brought
is
in.
just the game I always have. The Lions already have everything factored in. So whether he's playing or not, it's already into the number. But no, I haven't checked or know any.
Let's see. He does return to the Browns. Will he play $4 million?
Automatic
Yeah,
roster.
he'll probably be playing. You're probably right. Yep, he is. Yeah,
But
I wouldn't be surprised to see him.
that's well,
Very
it's an
good
option.
point.
Okay,
I would listen.
another
Like I
game
said, it's Tennessee or pass for me here.
another game that I wanted to look at was, I don't purposely look at underdogs, people, I promise. But Washington plus 6.5 at home to the
I
Bills.
do.
For me, this is
I,
huh?
I'm the under. I purposely look at underdogs. I want to find teams that I think can win outright. Right? Like we all expect favorites to win outright, but I'm not laying minus 185 on a team. I want to take the +5 on a team that is going to go neck and neck and maybe lose by a field goal. Like
Mhm.
you took the 4.5 with the Cardinals. I didn't have the guts to do it, but Pam, like in theory, you should have never had to sweat that game, right? Like that's why I
Never,
think you and I
like
both
we're
gravitate towards
texting each other
underdogs.
like, "How many people are gonna be eliminated today? Oh my god." And then, like, yeah,
It was,
I jinxed myself.
yeah,
I jinxed myself on the money
it is.
line.
All
But
right,
this
tell
is
me
why
why
you
you
take
like
these
the
bets on
commies.
the money. Well, the commies plus 6.5 at home to the Bills. The reason why I like this is because it's a very specific matchup that I'm looking at, and it needs to happen in order for this game to cover. Josh Allen in 2 games. He's averaging just 3.8 air yards per completed pass, 29th in the league after ranking second best last year. Is it a sluggish start, or is it potentially a change in offensive scheme ever since they added running back James Cook? They're now utilizing him more on the ground game, which means that they're potentially on purpose by design pulling Josh Allen back on some of those downfield bombs. Tommy's defense. These short passes is exactly their wheelhouse. Defending the short, below intermediate passes from underneath, allowing 3.8 yards per pass when the league average is 5.2. Now, the quarterbacks that they have faced the Washington Commies, Josh Jacobs and Russell Wilson. Of course, Josh Allen is better than both of those, and he can still absolutely bomb it downfield. He has that option, as we saw last week in his week 2 rebound. But Washington defense at home sounds good.
I don't disagree with you. I do think the Bills somewhat turned a corner last week, if you will. Pam was not
Mhm.
impressed with them, obviously, week one. This is a commies defense that I really like. Unfortunately, I did lay 3.5 with the Broncos last week, but that was because the defense really, they after that fumble from Russell Wilson, that team just took over and the Broncos defense was like non-existent. I will say, however, Washington has the Eagles on deck. Part of the reason why I like um, Tampa Bay. Sometimes these divisional matchups, people start looking ahead. Washington 0-4-1 against the spread in the last 5 seasons prior to playing the Eagles. That is my one little caveat, but I can see why you like the Commanders here.
Okay, well then let's pass. You give me another game. Let's go. Because so far we're not in alignment, which tends to be the case. And this is why
It
coming up with
does.
the other three is
So I've only
100%
played the
not.
2 games so far, which was the Texans and Tampa. Those are the only 2 games I put my hard-earned money on. Last week, as I mentioned, I did 3. Week 1, I also did 3. And I promised myself I was only betting my best bets, and here we are. Discipline. Yeah, this is tough. Okay, how about we talk about games I want nothing to do with? I want nothing to do with Chargers, Vikings. Zero to do with it.
Great.
Uh,
I
I
never
really
wanted to see
want,
the Vikings. They're the most volatile team in
all right,
the league.
let me throw this out there. I at first didn't really see any value in this game, and then I've kind of heard a couple other people talk about it, and that is New Orleans over Green Bay. And I don't have anything that I love necessarily here. Jordan Love, obviously, Green Bay had an opportunity to win that game. Falcons, game lands one. We all celebrated, or at least me. Packers, what do we know about this team? We know that
Right.
Jordan Love is capable. We know they have a couple of guys as weapons for him, but I'm still not sure this team has like an overarching identity, right? And so you've
Mhm.
got Derek Carr, a little bit of chip on his shoulder there in New Orleans. Haven't been super impressed by him, but I haven't been against him like I was in Las Vegas. Again, just throwing the game out there. I don't have anything definitive, but I have seen some people that I respect on the New Orleans side. And I will say this, I put New Orleans in a teaser or 6 teasers, if you will.
I don't mind the teaser, but I'm actually on the side of the Packers. The offensive line for Green Bay is absolutely fantastic, and the competition that the Saints have played, Ryan Tannehill and Bryce Young. So I'm not really taking into consideration yet. I
Very
think
true.
as much question mark we have surrounding Green Bay, we also have the same question surrounding the Saints and what their full capability is. Is there a mismatch at quarterback? Absolutely. But I'm not ready to go into the field. Like this could be 1916 game Packers.
There you go. And I
And
can see
I
that same as well. Okay, so let me throw out 2 others that I thought were really interesting based on what I said on Twitter earlier. And that was my buddy Jay Buff tweeted that he was going to use Seattle in a Survivor. And I said, Seattle
Mhm.
is a home favorite. Seattle is a road underdog. Like that meme is what I use because it's true. Seattle, as a road underdog, I love backing this team. As a home favorite, they are hot garbage. This is not a team that I want to be laying points with, and particularly at home. 1-7 against the spread. When headed back home, coming off a road win. I like Pete Carroll. Geno Smith is serviceable enough. Carolina has looked terrible, though. And that is my one caveat. I do believe Carolina
Well
got the win last year and disrupted a lot of Seahawks survivors, though.
so to your point, so Panthers was initially one of the options that I wanted to use as, okay, a potential best bet. And then Bryce Young was announced out, so we get Andy Dalton. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think
That was
it's a
just
bad thing
announced an
either.
hour ago.
I missed
He
that.
is a
I
very
actually missed that filming other shows. But when you said that, I'm like, and the problem is
So then look at the live line because this was just announced about an hour ago. Contest, we're getting Panthers +6 on the road to Seattle. What is the line right now with the announcement that Bryce Young is out? Check that. But for me,
hold
this is
please.
the only reason why you're checking that, the reason why I wanted to back Carolina is because it's Geno Smith against a really good, I'm not even going to call it pass rush, a good, I don't know what to make of this Panthers defense, which is why it left me confused because Carolina defense is third in sack rate. This is the number one thing that I like to look at. I want to look at that pass rush, and they are hella good. 12.7 in the best they are third best in the league for sacks, but they are second worst in pressure rate. So I don't know if that's like a luck situation or like the very few times that they are pressuring, they are able to hammer it in. And if you can give me the hammer it in against Geno Smith, who is 1-7 against the spread at home, that is why I like it. So automatically, though, we could be getting some value. What's the line?
6.5. So unfortunately,
Six
we
and a
are
half.
not.
A half point.
Yeah. But I mean, we're not getting any, listen, we're not getting any value on it. Again, it would be more of a situational play playing against Seattle as a home favorite for me. Let me see who Seattle has on deck as well. That
Well,
is
and
always something I
Seattle
like to look
defense
at.
as well. Seattle defense against a better, I would say that Andy Dalton is as capable, if not more capable right now than a rookie in Bryce Young. And you're going up against a very susceptible Seattle defense who has forced a punt. The Seattle defense in 2 games has forced 2 punts. The lowest rate, by far the lowest rate in the league. 2 punts out of 20 drives.
Listen,
Andy Dalton could have himself a day.
I, I listen. The Red Rifle and I have had some go rounds over the years where I have backed him, and I've
We
had to eat
all
a little
have. Have you
crow.
been in betting NFL with Andy Dalton? You've either loved him or
He
hated
can
him.
be rather frustrating from time to time. But there's something about that game that kind of screams I wouldn't be surprised to see Carolina go in there and spring an upset. Hmm, yeah, team coming off overtime. Now all of a sudden a 6.5 point home favorite. Panthers. Panthers put me to sleep Monday night. I'm not going to lie. I watched that game until I switched it back over because I had a teaser with the Steelers. They looked absolutely terrible, but they did play really well defensively. Lost by a field goal, got the push, however you want to look at it. I don't hate the Panthers in this
Miles
spot, and
Hubbard,
there's over.
Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, rushing. I mean, this could be a ground game attack. I think adding Dalton actually gives me more confidence on the Panthers than having Bryce Young. I was backing Bryce Young, a Bryce Young led offense because I was backing really the Carolina defense. But now I think they can actually have a little bit of more mobility on the passing game against
I think
Seattle's
we
defense,
could.
who's consistent.
I think we can pencil in the Panthers. I think they can definitely be penciled in here. Doesn't mean we have to use them.
Okay,
We've got a list. We've got five, and I've got one more. Just because everybody thinks we only bet underdogs, I've got a little baby favorite, just a little baby favorite, just a tiny one.
maybe. Okay,
Las
be like
Vegas over Pittsburgh. Listen, I had Pittsburgh in teasers. I'm very glad I didn't have to sweat that one. I think the final score was not exactly indicative of how that game went. They had two defensive touchdowns against the Browns. As Pam said, Deshaun Watson, not good. Jimmy G, love him, obviously. Why? 39, 25, and 1 against the spread in his career. This is a
you
really
like
short line. Open 1.5, 2.5 now, 2.5 in the contest. I like the Raiders here. They are not going to make my official card, but they did make my long list as something to look for. I missed the opening number of 1.5 at 2.5. Is it really that big of a deal? No, of course not. But it's big enough to not need to have an extra wager on Sunday afternoon.
well, the only reason also why Steelers were able to win off a game is because that defense is Jimmy G. I've been a proponent of Jimmy G, so I think he's actually fine. Um, you're not worried against that pass rush. You know what? The Steelers' offense is
There
trash.
was
that's
they really
that's
are.
basically it.
There was something that I had written down about this game, and I hadn't planned on talking about it because I thought, yeah, Pam and I'll have plenty of other things to talk about, and because we're kind of digging deep here, I had closed that browser out. Let me
While you're
see
looking at
where it's
that
at.
Looking at that, last week could have been a huge mismatch between quarterback situations between Jimmy G and Josh Allen. Great. And in a big rebound spot for Allen himself. Now, potentially, this could be a big rebound spot for Jimmy G against a Kenny Pickett. Steelers, 31st in success rate per offensive play, ahead of only the Bengals, who we know have been struggling mightily because what a trash offensive line. And through two games, Pittsburgh is allowing a league high 5.6 yards per rushing play. I like the ground game attack for the Raiders, even though they have the parts. They're just opting, obviously, to choose to use Jimmy G. I would not mind this game at all. I actually wanted to go to this game because I was like, you know what? I'm here. I like the
Have you seen
Raiders to win.
what tickets are? All the
So they're
degenerates from
$5.
Pittsburgh are rolling in. $500 for nosebleeds. I had friends text me, Cal, you got any Raiders hookups? I'm like, yeah, right. I couldn't
I
believe how
know they're
expensive
like
these
Pam,
tickets were.
the DMs that I've been getting. Do you not have hookups? Who? No, I don't. I'm sorry. We're just
Sorry, I
little
don't work at
betting analysts.
Allegiant Stadium. Like, I wish it worked
No,
that
no.
way. But it wasn't actually that prevalent. It was just how the Steelers fare after facing the Browns. Small sample size, 1-4 against the spread in their last five after facing the Browns. So it wasn't a
That is a
great
small sample
number.
size, but that is a powerful sample size.
I
And now
listen.
it's in
That's a
a
tough.
quarterback.
The AFC North is tough, Pam. These guys beat the crap out of each other, and these are really
Mhm.
usually hard fought battles. This is Vegas's first home game so far, and this is Pittsburgh's first away game. Don't forget, Las Vegas is back on the road again next week. They didn't have great scheduling. I think they get one home game in their first four games. So this is a chance for them to go in there and get a nice win.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And first road game when Raiders getting a home game. Steelers, as I mentioned, 31st in success rate per offensive play. They are a league low 19 yards per drive. You can't even make it to the 50. Come on. All right. I am liking that more and more. Do You wanna plug that in automatically? Let's go. I
Yeah,
like
let's
it.
plug that in. I'm sending I got a whole list here. So we've got Bucks, Falcons automatically in. Raiders we just put in. Between
Honestly,
the
and
Texans,
I'm
the
just gonna use
Titans,
this
and the
because it's part of the
Panthers.
show. I'm gonna use this just because the people who follow us, they freaking know. And I was gonna be like, "God damn it, do I like the Jets here? I will not bet the Jets. I will not bet the Jets with Zach Wilson under center. God dang it, I will not bet the
I don't
Jets.
hate it.
I'm just
The
not
Jets
gonna
are a
do it.
great teaser spot this week. They're a great teaser
Are
spot this
they?
week.
Zach
I
Wilson behind
love
center.
I love my Patriots under 7.5 wins versus my good friend Chris. I feel so good about it. Luckily, got the back door on this teaser last Monday night with them. Good golly, are they offensively inept? Mac Jones is not the guy. Oh boy, Bill Belichick hating life without Tom Brady.
The Patriots are 0-2 for the first time since 2001. Not only that, it is the
Wow.
first time that New England is 0-2 after opening up both games at home since 1975. This offense has just been so abysmal. I mean, New England has produced a gain of 20 yards or more on just 1% of their offensive plays. 1%. That's the lowest rate in the league by a few. And I know that it is Zach Wilson and it's Zach Wilson unders, but got to look at redemption here from a defensive perspective, going up against a team that, hey, is honestly not that much better offensively.
Yeah, listen, if you made me pick, so we've got Bucks, Falcons, Raiders locked in. If you made me pick between Texans, Titans, Panthers, Jets maybe would get the nod above the Titans. Maybe.
Kelly, say Kelly, say it with me. I will not bet the
I will
Jets.
not bet the Jets.
I will not bet the Jets. I will
I
not
said the
bet the
teaser.
Jets.
I got a little. I will not
You
bet the
said for a
Jets. You
teaser.
said
No,
for a
I will
teaser.
not bet the Jets at all. The only thing that I am betting from the Jets is Zach Wilson unders. I don't want anything to do with it. Let's go ahead and take it off. So the three games
Perfect.
that we have automatically plugged is your best bet of Bucks +5, my best bet of Falcons +3. We got the Raiders at home -2.5. The other games that we agreed on was the Texans +9 at the Jags and the Panthers +6 at Seahawks. I honestly, there's not a whole bunch that I like beyond that, other than the Titans. And yes, I mean, to me, that is just like it seems too
How
easy.
about this? You can take the Titans. I'll take the Texans. We like the other three.
Titans. Okay, so on one oh, since we have the two
Yeah,
cards,
we
we
can mix
will
it up.
on one card we'll take Texans +9 at the Jags because I don't like fading my Jags, even though I agree. And then on the other card, we will go ahead and do the Titans
Yep.
+3,
Okay. And
and
we're
then
gonna keep the Panthers and the Raiders in both.
3.5. It's not even +3. Titans +3.5 at 3. So for this contest purpose and on just to roll through some other options, I don't know what to do with Rams because I don't know who they are. I'm confused by that team right now, and I just wanna see. And Joe Burrow, that offensive line, I couldn't comfortably back him with that offensive line, but I also have no idea who the Rams
Could
are.
you imagine the
Raiders
Bengals
are
starting 0-3? That would
I
be
mean,
people would lose
something.
it. They would lose it in Cincinnati.
Other games on the board, you got the Cowboys 12.5-point road favorites, and I typically would, but announced also today, Trevon Diggs, the best defensive player, he is now torn ACL. That kind of changes things for me so last minute. The Chiefs laying 13 at home to the Bears. That also seems like an absolute slam dunk of a pick, but you don't get rich betting double-digit favorites in the NFL. So,
I'd actually
uh,
be curious to see over the last couple of years. There's been different stat lines depending on when it's been. And there was a point in time
mhm,
if you laid double digits in the NFL, you did get rich. And then it fell off for a little bit, and then now it's kind of probably making a comeback. I'll bring some data next week regarding that. Listen, the Bears are in complete and utter disarray. Their facility got raided. All right. Like I don't know what to
yeah.
make of that team
Not
whatsoever. They
their
just
coaches and
re-signed Nathan Peterman. Like, what are we
It's not
doing
good.
here?
It's not pretty. Other games up on the
No.
board, you got the Colts at the Ravens. I don't want anything to do with the Colts
Ugh.
because honestly, I haven't watched a single game of them. That's simple.
Well,
I'm gonna be real.
I have watched them, and I will say this: Ravens off a nice win over Cincinnati, and they got the Browns on deck. Anytime you have that like divisional sandwich game, it could be a flat spot.
Right.
Money's come in on the Colts. Does that mean I want to back the Colts? No, sure don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Not
then
with Gardner Minshew.
I think we're just gonna leave our card as is. Then, are you good with that? we'll do, since we're in 2 separate contests, we'll do a second we'll do 2 separate 5th picks. So the ones that so our card for this purpose for this contest, it is going to be Kelly's best bet, Bucks +5 at home to the Eagles. My best bet, Falcons +3 at the Lions. Raiders -2.5 at home to the Steelers. Panthers +6 at the Seahawks. 5th game is gonna be Texans +9 at the Jags. And for our second contest, we are in, we're taking out Texans and putting in instead Titans +3.5 at the Browns.
Perfect. Love that we got 3.5 as well.
I love it. I do love the
Okay.
3.5 as well. Perfect. So then that does it for our 5 against the spread contest picks in the NFL for week 3. Kelly, my girl, make sure you follow her on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. You can follow me at Twitter at Pamela M35. And thanks for hanging with us, guys. And for again, last week, Kelly, I missed you. I'm glad you are back.
We're
We'll
back.
see you
I hope you
again,
have a
guys.
wonderful time at the pool this afternoon. Some of us have to work, Pam. We can't just all enjoy this new Vegas lifestyle.
I'm gonna be there until 4 o'clock, and then I gotta come back and work, and it is 2:40 right now. So I'm gonna be there for about 30 minutes. Hey, guys. All right, bye, guys. That is my life. All right, make sure you follow us on Twitter, guys, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of Stacks Now on Wager Talk.